I
right?
saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Two different rooms right there, two different sets. And then like guys like Jadakiss and stuff like that, they wanted to smoke. So we can't do that next door to the treatment center.
Yeah.
So we do it in his house in the basement. Because, you know, Jim Jones wanted to smoke. Jadakiss wanted to smoke.
Most people haven't geared, honestly. This is like
Yeah.
the set. This is about the size of the set that we have. Like this room probably just with no, you know, we have a whole tucked back corner of the set that we redid. It was like my kids' room at first. Kids' room. It's not that anymore. I blocked off that closet. Like, where are my toys? I'm like,
Yeah. No, it's a nice little set. A few people have mentioned that to me.
Yeah,
They said it looks nice.
You know what? That couch was worth it. Mano we also had was good.
Mano.
Really
Oh, Mano, yeah. Mano did time, I think.
Yeah, we spoke to him about that. And no, he, you know, a lot of these guys, they're rappers that do time. He was a street guy. He did time, and he wanted to become a rapper inside. Because I guess some people, I don't know, he was writing some stuff just because he had all this time on his hands. And he started spitting these flows, and people were like, oh, you're pretty good. And then he took it serious, and now he has a career, you know?
Whenever you guys are ready.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest on the show is somebody who's in Bronx Tale, The Wire, The Irishman, Tulsa King, right? And
Yep.
so many others.
Been a
Ladies and
while.
gentlemen,
Oh, yeah.
Domenick Lombardozzi.
Thanks for having me, Lillo.
Oh, are you kidding me? Our absolute pleasure. He's Nicky Zero in the film, for those that don't know. So no better way, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, so you grew up in the Bronx, right? You're from the
Yeah.
Bronx? Grew up there your whole life?
I grew up Arthur Avenue, where the Bronx Tale takes place.
Okay, so how was that like? Your siblings?
Yeah. Two older brothers, first generation American. And, you know, just lived on Prospect, you know, and grew up next to the zoo.
Yeah.
And
Botanical Gardens.
Botanical Gardens. I can't tell you how many times we hopped over that fence. And, yeah, great place to live. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right. And your parents were from the other side, right?
Parents were from the
Immigrants?
other side, came here, I think, '69. I was the only one born in the United States.
Oh,
So,
okay, so your brothers were both born there.
yeah,
How old were they when they came here?
they were months.
Oh,
They
so-
were there. Yeah, I think my brother Max was probably one, and my brother Joe was just a few months old.
Wow. Okay, so it didn't really make a difference. They didn't even notice or realize, you know, at that young of an age, or have to make like the transition, or you know what I mean, because they were so young, so they really didn't.
No,
even know.
yeah. They grew up, you know, like
Basically,
American.
yeah, in the
Yeah.
Bronx.
Didn't know any better.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, I mean, when I grew up, it wasn't like a Bronx Tale, you know, obviously, but a lot of that culture was part of how I grew up. You know, just that way of thinking, and you know, just that tradition. It was very much an Italian American neighborhood. You know.
But also the street, the whole
The street aspect,
element.
yeah.
That
It's kind of like you know, you don't realize, you know, you didn't have money, but you kind of didn't know. You just,
you didn't know better.
you were outside, you were playing, you went to school, you played, you know, the lights came on, you were home, you were eating, the family, you know, you were eating at 6 o'clock or whatever. And it was that's just the way it was.
So let me ask you a question, because obviously in the Bronx Tale, and we know it was much earlier in the 60s, and racism at that time was prevalent in the 60s. But when you grew up in the Bronx, in that area, was it the 80s, you would say, right?
Yeah, in the 90s. Yeah, late mid 80s.
Okay, so would you say that there was still a lot of that racism at that time?
No, not like in the 60s.
No.
I mean, everybody had where they came from, their block, but you know, I went to school with Puerto Ricans and black. You know, I went to public school.
Yeah.
And you know, if the kid was from the neighborhood, I mean, everybody kind of grew up together. You know.
Okay. So growing up in an Italian neighborhood, obviously actors like Robert De Niro,
Yeah.
Al Pacino, they were like God to you, right? Just like they were for me, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, Pesci, Al, De Niro, anybody with a vowel You know, Scorsese,
Aiello, too.
Aiello. Oh yeah, it was my
Buckle,
pizzeria.
Yeah.
And
Nobody knows Aiello was one of the Rosado brothers. Most
right.
the fucking dog, right? Nobody knew, but
I'm trying to think. What was the movie that he did with La Paglia?
oh,
where he was
shit.
the 29th Street.
29th Street. That was great.
The lottery ticket.
Yeah. I love that movie.
You cop, drive now.
You know what's the best scene? Remember when he was talking to the insurance lady? And remember there was the stolen car? They reported the car stolen. Remember it was in Bud Lake, New Jersey?
Yeah.
And they found it. And he went outside. He goes, they found the fucking car. He was going, that was good. Danny Aiello was good, man.
Yeah.
I
He
don't
was
know.
also in Once Upon a Time in America.
Yeah. He worked a lot. You know what
Yeah.
I liked him in The Professional.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah, when he says, he goes, you keep your money in the bank. He
Yeah.
goes, why don't you keep it with me? He goes, banks get knocked off all the time. He said, nobody's going to knock off old Leon. Oh, what was his name? Oh, Tony.
Tony.
was his
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Nobody's going to knock off old Tony. But, so, obviously.
I'm surprised he never worked on, like, a Scorsese film.
I don't know. You know how that business is, man. If they like you, they work with you. You could be the most talented guy in the world, but if they don't want to be around you, they're not going to work with you. And who knows, maybe that was the case, maybe not. I'm not saying it is, but a lot of times when
I read his book. His book is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sad when he died, man. He definitely made a mark on me.
His son died.
Yeah,
His
the
son's
mark
a
that
great
he made-
stuntman, too.
Yeah. I did he was a Russian guy that I killed on this CBS show. I killed him on the boardwalk. He was over there. The squibs were popping.
Yeah.
I remember. He looks like him, too, a little bit.
He does.
Yeah.
Has that raspy
Yeah.
voice.
He's a big guy. But, so like, De Niro, like, so you guys are probably like, since it's Arthur Avenue all the time, you guys are probably doing impersonations of De Niro, Pacino, and all this stuff, just like all of us did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so flash forward to, 1992? When they started talking about the Bronx
91,
Tale.
yeah, 91, 92, yeah.
Okay, so obviously you're in the film. Prior to auditioning, because it was an open call audition, prior to auditioning, did you ever think about being an actor?
No.
Was that ever an aspiration of yours?
No.
So you heard about it, right? The film. Obviously, they probably came to that neighborhood more than any other place, just to see, for the the authenticity. That's
Well,
what
I'll tell
Bobby
you.
wanted.
No. Well, it was. You had the Italian American Playhouse, so a lot of credit goes to Marco Greco.
Marco Greco. I always give him credit.
So-
He found me on the beach.
Marco Greco,
Yeah.
man, he did so much footwork for that movie, and so he encouraged a lot of people to read, at least go sign your name on the paper, right, because before you came, the process was like, come in, sign your name, take a Polaroid, then it dwindles down, and then come in, take another Polaroid, say these lines, come back, and it just kept going like this, to the point where at that time the character was called Nicky Four Eyes, and I just kept coming back. Marco Greco would, my mother would go to Mike's Deli, be like, Tom Domenick, make sure he goes and reads again, and this, and so all my friends were going, people from all other boroughs were coming, and then when it really dwindled down, then you got that final audition in Tribeca.
So then you make it to the city.
Yeah.
It started in the Bronx.
Because
I read there as well.
It was just like this, just like 6, 7, 8 times just coming in, and just like they would just, it's like a process of elimination kind of thing. Because I had blonde hair, blue eyes, 2 kids that I grew up with were in that movie as well. And this was a small part. This part worked one day.
That was the only role you ever read for? Did you
That's
ever
it.
read for anything else?
No, that's it. And that time I couldn't care. Really,
Yeah,
I wanted to
nothing
play
to lose, right?
baseball,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and really couldn't care. And I remember going and read for Chaz, and I knew my lines and everything. And De Niro was on the phone in the back. Chaz came to the door. He goes, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And we did the scene, and then I got the part.
And this was down on 275 Greenwich.
Right.
De Niro.
Wherever the Tribeca office
Tribeca,
was. Yeah,
275 Greenwich.
yeah. And then I did the movie, worked it one day, was eligible for SAG, joined SAG, and then it wasn't until now the location. I think he was on location with Tony Vitale.
Yeah, he was the location manager, Tony.
Location
He did-
manager.
well, you worked with him after. We'll talk
And
about
this
that.
this is my point.
Yeah.
So I believe he might have still been in NYU. I'm not sure. Film school, and I'm not sure if he was still there, but he was. So then later on, I think it might have been 97, 98, something like that. He had the movie Kiss Me Guido, and he remembered me from the movie, and that was like this whole other process. Now I'm a little older,
You were
and
great in that. I mean, that was a good little movie.
thank you. Yeah, Tony did a great job. And trying to get the funding for that movie kind of made me fall in love with our business.
What the process?
Because it was at that time where independent films were like really independent films.
Right.
And like Sundance, like really mad. Like Sundance was really like Sundance, And I would go to these things and read with all different people, not knowing if I still had the part, because, all you need is a guy to come in, say, hey, here's $100,000 for the movie, $200 for the movie, but can you put my nephew in it?
Yeah.
And then you don't have a part no more.
Yeah. That's the way it works.
And I knew that. And make a long story short, wind up doing it. And that really made me want to be an actor and keep pursuing it and just deal with all the rejection.
Right. So it's not only that you were bit by the acting bug, but you also fell in love with the actual process. Because like the way Tony was doing it as opposed to A Bronx Tale, you got big names behind it, De Niro. So like the money's set, everything is set.
It was much more of a collaboration.
Right.
And you didn't know, we would have to do readings for investors. So it's kind of like you're putting on these little shows, and it's just, and then when you're actually doing the movie, like this one's picking up the cables, and this one has like 5 different jobs on set. And I kind of, because growing up where I grew up, you either stay on, you either be confined by the fences, or you want to know what's on the other side of the fence.
Right.
And I always wanted to know what was on the other side of the fence, whether it be an actor or hitting a baseball or do something. But I knew, as much as I loved being where I was, I knew there was something out there.
You always had those aspirations to be more than just that. Whether, like you said, playing baseball.
What it was, I didn't know.
Right.
But yeah.
Just something more.
Something, yeah.
There's something more out there for me.
Yeah.
This can't be it. Not this alone can be it. So there's something out there.
Right.
And I think that's a big reason why you are where you are today, to have had that mindset.
Well, there's all different kind of work ethic. The household. My father worked very hard worker.
Yeah.
So we grew up like that. Nothing's easy.
Yeah. My father's the same way.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
easy way is not always, the right way.
Yeah, these old school Italians, like, is the saying, you want to work smarter. And like, they know to work smarter and hard, but they'd rather work harder. Mm-hmm. It's just like they'll go make a job of something where there's not something. My father used to he's like, got concrete. What are you doing? You just, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's that work, man. That's just a part of them, and they die like that,
Yeah.
But that was so. Okay, so now you did Bronx Tale, okay? when The Bronx Tale was released, did your life change
No.
overnight? Well,
No.
No?
It didn't do not what it did for you,
oh yeah.
and what I thought it was gonna do for like all the other kids, because everybody else had a big part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
little kids had a big part.
Yeah.
The you know, your friends had a big part, and so no, it really didn't get me an agent. It didn't get me anything like that. Or it wasn't until I did Kiss Me Guido, and that came out, and it was distributed by Paramount, that they had like a little premiere screening kind of thing, and there was an agent from Writers and Artists, and she signed me.
That night, she said, "I'm."
Yeah, she said, gave me her card, called me, and I went to the office, and I was with Writers and Artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was your next big break? Was it
The Wire, probably.
The Wire, right?
Yeah.
How long were you with the new agency, before you landed that role?
Well, I wasn't with Writers and Artists, I could tell you that.
Oh no.
No. Writers and Artists kind of went through this I don't even know what the hell they call it. I think it's a bunch of bull. But they were taking over, like they revamping it or whatever. So like if you weren't making like a certain amount of money, like you would toss this. I was working, but I was doing independent movies.
Yeah, it's not.
I was doing what was in New York at the time. I never moved to Los Angeles. I never made that move, you know. Just didn't want to be that far away from my family. So I never made that move.
I was the same. I had the same thinking
So,
as you.
and so then, what was it? I didn't get another agent. I had a manager with leverage, and I was been with Michael Garnett for a long time, and then I got with Gersh the third season of The Wire. So I got The Wire without an agent.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
just
how
a
did-
manager and a lawyer.
Oh, so you had. Now you say leverage. Was that who's behind leverage?
Steve Levinson.
Doesn't he have some affiliation with Wahlberg?
Yeah, it was Wahlberg's manager at the time.
Okay. Yeah, no, I knew the name and I knew
Yeah.
that leverage sounded familiar.
Right.
So is that because I know you guys have a friendship?
Well, I've been friends with Mark's. I did the yards with Mark.
Can't-
So I was doing movies like
James
that.
Caan, yeah.
I was doing like
Yeah, but-
James Gray. James
See, it's
Gray,
good for you, but
phenomenal
right.
filmmaker. And I just did work with James again on Armageddon time, and but I'm gonna tell you how I got. So I went from having no representation to I met Michael Garnett, who's my manager now, through leverage, because when we were doing the yards, they would come to the set and stuff like that, and I met him, and that's about it. So he reached out to me because there was a recurring role on NYPD to kill Ricky Schroeder, the episode to kill Ricky Schroeder. This is a funny story. This is a true story. So at 10 a.m., I have no representation. At 2, he calls me and he says, listen, I want to submit you for this. I don't know why, but I thought about you for this. And I was miserable that whole after. I didn't talk to anybody. It's like, what do I do now? You know, and he happened to call
4 hours later.
4 hours later. I said, yeah, go ahead, submit me. And I went to go read. I got it. But I hated flying. So I took a train for 4 days to work 2 days.
Really? Because they're out in L.A.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did one episode of that show.
So they were there, and then they shot the exteriors here in New York, but the interiors were there. And then I had a manager, and that's all I had. and I had a really bad taste in my mouth with agencies, and then Gersh, Jason Goodman, and he reached out to me, and I really thought he was on the up and up. He was just a straight shooting kind of guy. And I've been with him since then. So both of these guys over 20-something years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just to go back a little bit, because
we did the big jump there.
But the Bronx Tale, right? You worked with De Niro. I know you said you only worked one day, but was there anything that De Niro said to you that one day? Because he directed the
I'll
film.
tell you what I remember.
That one thing that you take with you to this very
The
day.
smell of his tea.
His tea.
The tea. He would walk around with tea.
And he was always with the Listerine,
what was it?
too.
A peppermint tea? I remember Lipton fucking tea. Growing up.
And he had the peppermint.
Like the fucking brown bag.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
This is like, what is, like, it was like, from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And,
It's like some fancy smelling
like,
tea.
I know this is not coffee, and well, so what is this?
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh wow, this is peppermint tea. Like, that's how removed you are.
Yeah.
That's how you are a product of your environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember that, and no, he just, there was the script, but then he goes, he goes, just say more or less what's on this page, but go do what you want, just do what you want, and that's where the elephant and the gun and the truck, driving the truck, that's where all that came from.
Yeah, and we were just in the driveway, we were
Yeah.
talking about that scene. I said, when he was selling the guns, and he said, just want to stop an elephant driving the truck, and the truck too.
Right.
That's the best fucking line in the thing, and that was him. He came up with that. That was ad lib. That was improv. That wasn't actually in the
And
in
it
the
was
script.
cold. I don't know. It was cold that day, getting slapped.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to slap me like that.
Yeah.
How
He's
many
a,
takes?
Huh?
Takes. How many times did he slap
A
you?
few.
Right?
yeah, because we're doing it from different angles.
I did his podcast. He's lucky I didn't take it back out on him.
He got me good when we did that scene up against the. Where the fuck did you go with my car? I got my mother, my aunt's little Italian lady.
Well, that's
That's the-
I mean, Chaz is just great in the movie.
Yeah, he is.
He's just.
He really
He's
is.
just. He's just.
He
That
does-
movie. I can't imagine that movie without him. I'll be
Anybody else,
honest. with
even
you.
when he comes out, just when he comes out, and then right there, right under that lamppost, it's Sonny, right, and he comes out and he's looking around, and he looks at the one guy and he just gives him a little quick nod. Every fucking thing he did was perfect in that
Perfect.
movie. When he was looking at Francis, and then he looked at him for just enough time, and he looked away at the right time. If he would have, you know what I mean? I was watching and analyzing. He was great in that movie. Did you ever hear this?
He's great.
Yeah.
He's great in a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, he was great in Bullets Over Broadway as
Yes.
well. He was really good in that. I think
Yes.
he was better in that than Bronx Tale. That Bullets Over Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
That was, and I remember him talking about Woody Allen. Because remember Bob, it was his first thing, so he used to get as much coverage as possible. And we were doing ADR for the Bronx Tale, and Chaz was working on Woody's movie, Bullets Over Broadway. He goes, can you believe it? I'm already done. 2:00 in the afternoon. He goes, Woody only does one shot. He does a Steadicam master. So basically he's saying now like Bob, he does 30 shots on the same scene.
Yeah.
The scene, but I'm gonna mention the girl. You know to make sauce. We did like 30 times. Even my father was like, "What the fuck? I don't see the difference from the first one and the 28th one you did. What are we doing over here?" But yeah, it was still,
Meanwhile, they'll use the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was something else. I remember you once saying, I don't know if you said it to me on the phone or you said that you watched The Godfather once a year or something along those lines to brush up or something along those lines. You said something like that.
I was a few movies I watched.
This was back in like 2015, 16.
Yeah, when we started talking, yeah, and there's a few movies I watch. French Connection. I watched like all those movies from. Like, this is what it was. I watched a lot of those movies like from '68 to '70 something. I watch. I don't know. I just go back and watch those movies, and there's just like a certain type of authenticity to them. You know what I mean? Like a truthfulness.
Right.
And that's about it.
Do you ever watch some of these films to prepare for an upcoming role? How do you prepare for a role? Is every preparation the same, or is it different?
I walk. I think a lot. A lot of repetition. The repetition is just to know the lines, but I'm never really married to anything. You know, a bit more like visceral. You know, I don't plan for anything. I know what my boundaries are, and as long as I know my lines, I know I could play all day long. And I don't mind playing all day long.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the key. You're right. Knowing
Yeah.
the lines good enough.
Yeah, because that's, you know, then you're not fishing for that stuff.
Right.
You're able to focus on what's
Right.
really important.
Right. It's
you
one
know?
less thing to worry about.
Yeah.
When you're not prepared.
You don't know who you're acting with. You don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know. You could have had like, oh, you know, I'm gonna go to the desk and I want to do this all sitting down, and then they're like, you know, well, we got to do this standing up,
Oh,
and
boy.
you can't go on that set. So you're like, forget about all that. That's not, you know. Just go there and try to fit into whatever mold they put you in.
Right.
You know.
Would you say most of the directors that you have worked with, and of course the writers, you know, would you say that most of them, the majority of them, have been flexible in the writing and let you kind of take it where you want to take it, to just stay within those confines and
I think they're more flexible in film and television.
more flexible in film than television, right?
I think in television it's like they, you know, you really need. Are we talking about dialogue?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of TV, they want you to say what's on the page, because I think it's more of a writer's, producer's medium,
Right.
where film is more of a director's medium. And very rarely do you see the writer of the movie on the set, unless it's a writer-director.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. I never.
So, and
didn't know
and
that.
theater's an actor's medium.
Right. Because I remember, like, in film, like, you work with these directors, and they basically just tell you, like, you don't have to really say exactly what's here. Just stay within these confines. Mention the pertinent things just so we can keep the story going.
Unless they're the right, like, you work on a Michael Mann movie.
Right.
I did Miami Vice with him, and I did, I'm having a De Niro moment now. There's the little joke that me and you had in the parking lot.
I don't remember.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, but yeah, what movie? Remember what you
yeah.
did?
What movie? Public Enemy.
Oh, okay.
And Michael is a writer-director. But Michael, you know, Scorsese worked on, you know, just like Scorsese, be like, yeah, you know, yeah, do the line, and then so. Come to think of it, after doing The Irishman, I could see where De Niro got that from.
Got what?
The say what's here, but
Yeah, yeah.
say what what you think could work. You know, try what you want to try. I think that comes from Marty. But the TV, it's more like, but you know, the acting, you know, the lines. I go there not wanting to change the lines.
Because you already have it prepared.
Because it's
You
also
prepared it.
respecting to the writer. You know,
Right,
there's
right.
somebody who actually sat down
Yeah.
and thought about these lines, and it
These are my
means something
fucking
to them.
lines, my dialogue, bro. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
You know, and the character is not your character. You know, a lot of this is, you know, I don't know. I don't own the character. You know, Herc. That's David Simon's character. That's not my character. I'll dress it up. I'll put colors on it or whatever. But that's his character. That's not my
creation,
character.
right.
You know, I don't own it. So, you know, if that's what the words are, that's what the words are. You know.
Yeah. How many years did you work on The Wire?
5.
And that was in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
So did you have to relocate for that? For whatever?
Just when I was working.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd go back and forth. You wouldn't stay.
No, I would stay. You had to stay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to stay there, and then once it was done, we only did 13 episodes, 12 episodes, 13
It was like
episodes.
Sopranos. That's standard.
That kind of what HBO was at
right,
that time.
Exactly. So let me ask you a question, because I remember with the Sopranos, everyone had
Never
their,
auditioned for Sopranos, by the way.
No?
Nope.
Sopranos everyone had their own script with the sticker with your number on it. So if that script was to get lost, you could actually get sued because they didn't want anyone to know the storyline. And like the writing, you couldn't change the writing. So now it makes sense what you were saying. Like we're in film, there is a little more flexibility. But I remember on The Sopranos, bro, you couldn't change to the.
No, I mean, Sorkin is big for that. I never worked with Sorkin, but very, very particular about his words. And so I did an episode of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and the Paladin. You can't change anything. And to them, it means something. It does, and you have to respect it.
No, absolutely.
I
did a little writing myself, and now, I'm not at that level. But
look, words change things.
Yeah.
Especially in comedy.
Right.
You could change one word.
One word.
In a punchline or delivery, and then you're like, maybe I could put this. No. This word needs to be there.
Right. It's
this here for
and
a
it
reason.
It needs to be executed
What
the right way.
the reason is, I have no idea,
Right.
but it needs to be there.
It needs to be executed with that precise timing for it
Correct.
to be able to sell the way it was written. You know what I mean? So would you say that comedy harder to do than drama? For that reason, because of the precision and the timing?
I don't know. I think it's hard to make people laugh. Yeah, I say this all the time. I'm always fascinated by stand-up comedians and what they do, and it's like, yeah, but it's only 5 minutes. Yeah, but it's 5 minutes of
feeding off a crowd.
It's 5 minutes of putting yourself out there, working on material, not knowing how people are going to react.
Right.
And I have a lot of comedian friends, and I'm just totally blown away by what they do, man.
Yeah.
That's a completely different discipline.
Yeah, you go up there, you have a game plan, right? This is like where I'm going to start my skit's going to start with this, and then it's going to go into this, and to be able to build it to where you got this is pending that the audience is going to react the way you want them to react, so you can keep going to that.
I was listening to this. Norm Macdonald had passed away, and I was watching this. Like interviews, like people who work with them, and one guy, and I'm a big Norm Macdonald fan, right? And I love that dry humor kind of thing, and he would actually go on stage and purposely bomb. Purposely. Do you know the confidence that you have to say, hey, listen, I'm going to go on tonight, but I'm going to fucking suck. Okay? I want everybody in this fucking place to hate me tonight.
To the next level set of balls on that guy.
Yeah.
Incredible.
You know what I mean?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. That's like you going to work, showing up and saying, you know what? I'm not even gonna hit my mark. Find me. Let the camera find me. Okay? You follow me. No.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But it's that's just that might mean something to him. So I don't know.
Lillo to do stand-up. He won't do it.
I did it a few times. One time I did it in Atlantic City, and I bought up this skit. I was talking about like one night I was smoking crack in this house, and I thought because like what psychosis is when you get you get paranoid and shit. I used to get like that. I'm sure you've seen guys in the neighborhood because there's always one out of the crew that gets like that, right? They get weird, they get paranoid. Somebody
they cop delusions.
Yeah, exactly. That's real shit. So look, I got the scar one night, jumped down in the fucking car, right? So I'm with this guy Joe Greco, this kid, and he was affiliated with the Scores. He was like the sugar baby of the guy who owned the place, Michael Bluetrick. It was like a weird thing. So this kid had this beautiful house. Everything was bought for him, right? So we went to scores. We went to watch the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Florida Panthers. This was like 97 in the playoffs. We used to get everything for free. I remember I'm drinking. I start sniffing. So now I'm starting hitting the pipe. We go back to his house. This fucking kid is sleeping. He's got a little Cocker Spaniel, right? So now I'm starting to bug out. I'm got no shirt on. I'm sweating like a pig, right? He's sleeping. He's like, he's seen me like this so many times, so he don't even care. Even though it's like the craziest shit, if somebody walked in, like, yo, what's up with this guy? Sweat, you know what I mean? But he's seen it me like this, so it's not a big deal, right? He's sleeping. So now I'm like wandering around the house. I'm looking at shadows in the wall. So now he's got this this Cocker Spaniel. And this dog, I think I was keeping him up because he looked like he wanted to go to sleep. But he probably never experienced anything like this. Like, yo, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Goes to sleep
Right? So now I'm thinking there's one big plot going on right now. There's people in the walls. There's people under the fucking stove. There's something going on. There's something going on, and this Cocker Spaniel's in on it. Because, listen to me, he's on the fucking floor like this, bro. He's on the floor like this. The stove is over there, and I'm over there. He looks like he's looking under the stove, like he's talking to somebody, and then every time I turn around, he looks back fast. And I'm like, is this dog, is he really talking to somebody under that stove? I really thought this dog drove me crazy.
You never had a dog before?
No, you love dogs. I know, I see it. No, but
Because that's what dogs do.
Yeah, but when you got, I know, but when you got that height, but it looked like he was being sneaky.
Yeah.
Every time I looked at
Now,
him,
if you
he
told
looked
me
like
you
he was
saw the dog's lips move,
yeah.
now that would be something different.
Yeah, like it looks like it was like he was saying like, no, not right now, not right now, no, give me, hold on. That's what it was like.
You could do see you could.
Yeah, but that's what I did. I did that skip. But you know what it is? You're from the neighborhood. These guys know that life. You know what I mean? They put
Normal people it doesn't hit with.
the crowd didn't find it too funny, bro. I was struggling up there. I was dying, and I'm thinking. I even got on my fucking knees. I was doing the dog like this.
Well, this is what it is. But that's a funny story. You got to figure out a way to tell it.
Right.
A certain
It's gotta
way.
be structured.
That's what they do. That's that's how they work on their material.
Yeah. You could have a funny story, not structure it the right way for it to build the right way, and you'll fuck it all up.
Yeah, you could say you could say good jokes and you could do that, but you have to be able to string things. You have to have like a delivery. I don't know. Obviously, I don't do it, but you got to have that setup.
And you know what it is too? You got to have a lot of confidence to be a comedian, because you got to have balls. You got to have those confidence balls, because somebody that doesn't have that, the first time your joke doesn't work, you're going to be thrown off track.
This business too.
Yeah, and you're never going to get back, and you're never going to regain that confidence, and you're going to fuck everyone in the audience's night up and your night up.
Yeah.
But what do you mean this business?
Oh, the rejection.
Ugh.
How many things you go on, how many train rides to the city, the drives, the auditions, the no's.
Right. So someone such as yourself, because you built a beautiful, great career for yourself, really, do you still audition?
Yeah.
Not as much as you
A lot.
used to. Really?
Yeah.
Like, I always thought Hollywood was more like, I never reached the level that you did, but I saw a little bit of it. It always seemed to me, because I lost roles where they would even tell me in the room, like, you read this better than anyone. Like, you know that kid Diego Luna? He was in the Dirty Dancing 2, Havana Nights. He had that movie coming out. And I read for this movie called My Bones Are All I Keep. You remember that movie? Mm-hmm. I even took a quarter of a fucking Valium because I wanted this role so bad. Not a lot, where I'm slurring my speech. It was just enough just to stay focused. And I had to play like a El Salvadorian. And I was so focused, man. That was one of my best auditions. I was like, wow, I was zoned in. And I really wanted this role. He was like this kid. He was institutionalized. It's El Salvadorian. My cousin, he's got a trucking company at El Salvador. I was talking to them all night, figuring out the accent. Like, I want this. And it wasn't even a big movie, but I want this role because I know I could showcase them. You know what I mean? And the guy said it. He told my manager. He said, Lillo, this guy could not stop talking about you. He said you read that better than anyone else by far. But they had to go with Diego Luna because he had the movie coming out. They got to go with the hot hand. You know what I mean? Because it's like our movie's coming out. That movie just made all this money. So then he goes from this to this. And then the momentum.
Money rolls.
Yeah, the
Well,
momentum.
now it's also your Instagram followers.
Yeah, well, that's a whole
Which
lot.
I don't even understand how it even translates, because then the majority of these people have hits every day. Every movie that came out, it would be a hit.
Oh, yeah.
If that actually correlated to what their Instagram follow, like I don't get it.
It's
I
all
don't
about
get
the
it.
numbers, man, because now
Yeah.
it's like so much money used to be put into P&A, print and advertising, in a film, right? But now you got these actors in these movies because of this social media. It's like you don't even have to put as much money into that because your lead actor's got 25 million followers. So obviously he's going to post it because he has a vested interest to do so. He's going to gain from this if people come and see you know what I mean?
So how does the movie not make $25 million opening day then?
I don't know. I don't know.
Some of these are
That's
fake,
my point.
Fake accounts. I mean,
That's my point.
25 million actual.
It doesn't
followers.
matter. Well, you know how you could tell? Well, obviously, like if you know you can tell somebody's got a bullshit account. You could see they got all these likes, but they got fucking 7 comments. They got 8,000 likes, but they got 7 people commented.
I just think that whole world is weird,
Yeah, no,
I
it
just,
definitely is. It's make believe, to a certain extent. It really is.
I'm gonna tell you something. The biggest mistake I ever made was being forced to join social media because of a production company. Was the biggest mistake, and I think it's a big mistake for anybody in our business or the music business because De Niro, your Marlon Brando, Denzel Washington, who's still probably not even on it, but you know nothing about them except for what you see on that screen. Now it's like, oh, you saw fucking Crims Hemsworth fucking bench press 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting ready for Thor.
Yeah.
Like, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the mystique is gone, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
You didn't know
no,
what the
you're
fuck
absolutely
Brando
right.
did. You know?
No, it definitely
You know, he
takes-
was playing the bongo, whatever. Did he play the bongos? What did he play? Yeah, what was that thing? Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
But then you got the Mark Wahlbergs that you talk about, right? And I watch him every Sunday, right? He'll be like, I woke up at this time, and he motivates. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, I wish I can get on a schedule like him.
Yeah, but doesn't he own that gym? That what's it called?
I don't know. He owns like everything.
Yeah, let me tell you something. One thing about that guy, man. Nobody.
I don't know anybody. I'm going to tell you something. I work with him personally, professionally. I'll say it right now. I've never worked with anybody who has his type of work ethic in this business. Who like from day one, from day 30 before shooting, is in it.
Yeah.
His dedication is like on another level.
No, the Wahlberg
it's just
didn't
on
get
another level.
Yeah, he didn't get to where he got to. Wahlberg is very dedicated. Nobody markets themselves better than he does. But one thing that he has more than a lot of people is he has what's called practical intelligence. It's not really the intelligence you could learn in the books.
Mm-hmm.
Like, didn't Leverage break up at one point? Something happened, I remember back in the day, where he had to make a choice. If I remember correctly, he either had to choose the manager or who's his manager from Leverage?
No, it was I think it was agents, but I really don't know the story about that. But he was always with Lev.
Okay, but
They've
then
been
then it
together
was the
forever.
agent. Then it was the agent.
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah, something happened where the agency broke up. So now it's like the agent that he was with broke away from the agency. So he had to make that decision. Where do I go? Do I stay with the agent or do I go with the agency? Either one at that time could have been interpreted as the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
But he stayed with the agent who ended up blowing up bigger than the agency. But that's practical intelligence. That's not something you can go read in a book and say, okay, well, this is what I... No, this is something that's inside. It's an instinct. You know what I mean? And that's what Wahlberg has more than, like, a lot of people. And that's why he is where he is.
He took what, hey, look, it's, you get lucky, you walk out of the building, you're on a billboard, and the director asks, oh, who's that? And why are all these people around him? And then they put him in the movie because he did Renaissance Man with you, right?
Right.
And from my understanding, from what he told, that's how it happened. There's that, but then there's also, what do you do when you do have that?
Right. You're absolutely right. Parlay that into the next
Right.
thing.
You
That's
could
the
call
hard-
you could call that whatever it is, but
Right.
then what's the excuse for the last 35 years then?
Yeah, plenty
Right.
of people waste talent.
Right.
Right. You're absolutely right. You got to be able to know and to like really capitalize on everything you do.
I've seen him.
What-
I've seen him prepare for movies. I've worked with him. When when I couldn't find anything, Mark employed me. So he looked out for me when nobody else did. So I've seen with my own two eyes the work that he's put into his craft, and I'm telling you, I haven't seen anybody do that.
Yeah, yeah. No, Mark's a special dude. He
You know,
definitely is.
if Mark is on set, he's prepared. Make no mistake about it. Make
See, when
no
I worked
mistake
with him
about
was
it.
when he was first starting.
Yeah.
But he was still, I still remember
Yeah.
him being a consummate professional. He was about it. You know what I mean? He knew he was able to distinguish between the time of work and the time it never got mixed up. He was there and he was there to work. You know
He
what I mean?
worked hard, he played hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was able to distinguish and
Yeah.
he was very disciplined in being
Yeah.
able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very big reason why he is where
Correct.
he is today. And I respect him so much on so many other levels. And just like the way, he sticks up, and I'm not going to get into it, but he stands up for certain things.
Yeah.
And he's a very, very, he said, I really respect him. I really respect, where he is. And he's definitely somebody that I look up to and everything that he's
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
And you too, bro.
Yeah.
And you too.
Well, thank you, thank you.
So, okay, so then after The Wire, okay, so you worked on The Irishman. I'm sure it was like such a dream to be able
Yeah.
to work with Scorsese, right? Just watching Raging Bull,
Yeah.
all these movies.
Which is one of those movies that I watch. I just think that movie's a masterpiece too.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. They think Goodfellas, but I think Raging Bull is better. I think it's just, Thelma Shoemaker cut that movie. She edited that movie. That scene in the beginning, just when he's dancing in the ring, remember when he's shadow boxing?
She did
Raging Bull.
An Irishman too.
Yeah. She's with Marty. She's
I
his
did my
editor.
ADR with.
Yeah.
We did the ADR right here.
Oh, with Thelma?
By the way, this is where I do my ADR, Kessler.
Oh, yeah?
Giving you a shout out with your Achilles.
Kessler Media, right?
Where you fucked up Achilles over there.
Feel better.
He's hopping around, but he still let us in.
ADR for normal people.
I don't even know what this is.
Do you know what ADR means?
Yeah.
It means two different things.
I
It
still
means-
call it looping.
Yeah, looping. That's. But ADR either means additional dialogue recording
Go
or
over.
automated dialogue replacement.
Yeah, that.
It's two.
What is that for people who don't know? Like, what,
But I remember that's what they used to call it when I remember they used to call it looping,
Looping,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Are you're looping
looping?
today?
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's like, but okay, so, say we cut the movie. We lock it. It's an edit lock. The movie's locked. It's edited, okay? So now say the camera cuts away to a different shot. Now it's on the back of my head. And there's maybe a second before the next guy speaks. But maybe we could have me say a line because you see the back of my head, and maybe it could tie up some loose ends. It could help tell the story a little bit better. You
Or
know what
like
I mean?
if a plane, like if there was an interference with noise during your take that they didn't catch, they could redo it. They could
Right.
sync. I don't know.
You know how sometimes you watch a film and sometimes the lips don't match up?
Yeah.
Because the additional dialogue recording is what I just said, when you add it when the guy's in the back, but sometimes the performance was great, but on one line it got flubbed because it's a
Whatever it
plane
is.
flying over the thing. So now you're in the studio, you're in there, you got the headset on, you're watching a big screen, and they let you watch it a few times because you want to see, you want to try to recreate that energy again. So and you hear beep, beep, beep. What do you want me to do? Run away? Make people think I got no heart? All right, so you got to watch the rhythm, and then the guy says, all right, let me try. You know what? If I move it a little bit, I think I can, and then sometimes it just don't work. Do it again. And then sometimes you get it, and then you can. I've seen films get worse because of bad ADR. We did this movie.
I'm just not a fan of hearing somebody talk when the camera's on the back of that. I hate it. And they do that in TV a lot, and I don't know why they do that. I'm always fighting it, right? I'm like, do we really need that?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So
Yeah, but
I
that
hate
stuff-
it. I think
yeah.
it's cheesy. I think it's cheap. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what was the experience working on The Irishman? Did you have to audition for that role?
Yeah.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I
And
had auditioned for Tulsa King.
I read for that role.
Did
for
you?
Chicky, right?
Chicky.
Chicky in Verizzo. It was what
In
the hell?
Vernizzi.
In Verizzi, but it was different in the beginning.
Yeah, it was.
Inzerillo. It was Inzerillo in
Mm-hmm.
the beginning. I know a guy with the last name Inzerillo.
Right.
Yeah, from Mount Vernon. But yeah, I read for that.
Ray Donovan audition. I had to audition for all of them.
So what was that like, the Irishman? Okay.
Well, went in for Ellen and read for 2 characters.
Ellen
actually.
Chenoweth?
Yeah.
You
No,
know-
Ellen Lewis.
Ellen Lewis. Oh yeah. You know what's funny?
yeah.
Ellen Chenoweth, Brooke, but my manager, because I was like, listen, when I first came up, I said, you got to, get me back in the room with some of these people. And Ellen was always cool, but I understand what happened. But he was like, I try to reconnect with her, see if she would sit down with you. He goes, let me just send you the email. You know what she said? She said, I would be afraid to be in the same room as him. That's what she said. Yeah, I was like, all right, well, I guess that's not going to happen.
There's that one.
You know what I mean? But, okay, so you went to read.
Went to read. That's just crazy what you just said.
Yeah.
It's just. That's so disturbing.
So did you get callbacks, or was it a right away thing? And did you meet Marty the first time? Were you in the room?
Oh no!
with
So I
Marty?
read for 2 roles,
Okay.
and then left, and then Ellen called and said, "Listen, just don't cut your hair." So I don't have to tell you what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Yo.
yeah, I'm not gonna blow your spot up, but
that's
you know
all
what I mean. No, I'm not
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
no,
that.
no,
I'm
no,
talking
no.
about that 10 o'clock shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I don't mind sharing that
Yeah,
with the
okay.
world.
Going to Turkey.
I'm going to Turkey
so-
this summer, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about it.
Not letting them.
Turkish hairlines.
I think he's
They're
going
great.
He has to be bald.
I think
He
he's
doesn't
great
need
ball.
to go.
We
You know?
convince him on this podcast. You're a great ball.
I think you should stay bald. I think if you wind up growing hair now, it's gonna look weird.
I think,
So-
you know what it is? It's not even for that. I just think it could help me with work. Sometimes it comes down to me and another guy, and I'm, like, they're not going to put a wig on me like they would for you. So for me,
Yeah, they would.
I mean, they have, but if it's between me and another guy, and they'll be like, well, we already got Matt Damon and this guy, maybe we just go
So
with
they
the
got
other
a
guy.
guy with good hair.
You know what I mean? But you know what it is? Between you and another guy, they got to ask themselves, is this guy important enough
If it's
in this
between
role?
you and you fucking Brenner, yeah, you got a problem.
Yeah.
But
But I don't know. Okay,
so
back to Scorsese.
And we're boycotting Turkey. Yeah. It's just done.
so just don't cut your hair. Fuck, it's summer.
Thank you.
And so I'm not cutting my hair. It's about like 4 weeks now. I'm wearing a hat everywhere. Summer. And I call my manager and I said, why don't you give Ellen a call, see what's going on here, because I'm starting to look like fucking Burt Young.
Yeah.
And
You know, it's pulling for Rocky.
yeah. And I said, find out what's going on. And sure enough, she's like, no, he's still in the running. Tell him not to cut his hair. And then I'm thinking to myself, if they're gonna have to wig me, I have to cut my hair for the glue. You got, that's better to be completely shaven bald to put a wig on as to have like a little, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't get what's going on here. And so then she calls and says, is he available to sit down with Marty and Bob on Monday? Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. So I go down, and it was at one of those post-production places. I think Marty might have been like editing one of the documentaries he was doing at the time.
Okay.
I don't know which one. Bob wasn't there yet. And I show up, and now I know it's either this character or it's Tony that we're going to be talking about. Now, I read, and I was prepared to read again, but they didn't make me read. So I'm sitting down, and I'm sitting with Marty and waiting for Bob to come. And we're just talking about films and films from the 50s, like Billy Wilder movies and all that kind of stuff. And then De Niro comes in and, gives me a hug, hello, and, knows me from Bronx Tale and working with them on The Family.
Oh, okay, so you see him on The Family. I was going to, okay.
Yeah, so, to be honest, maybe that's the reason why I was there. I have no idea. Maybe I was given that shot because of that. I don't know.
I'm sure Bob put the good
Yeah,
word in for you.
I have no idea. So, and I had done my research on Tony, like his mannerisms, like how he sat in a chair, and this is how he spoke to Scott, how he was revered, and so I had opinions on him. I had information, and so Marty's talking. He's like, yeah, we're thinking, more like Tony, Fat Tony, And I'm like, okay, I get up to maybe about 235 pounds by that time, 240 I got up to, and then they did the cast. And the whole time, De Niro, like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Okay, well, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is then. Okay. All right.
That's what he does.
All right. Okay. All right. Gives me a kiss, bye. He goes, someone will call you. Someone will call you. Like, fucking leave. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't read. I really didn't get that was good information on Tony. Like all I got was, okay, okay. Okay. And then I got,
That was his reaction.
and it kind of mimicked the Bronx Tale in the fact that I knew I had the job before I got home.
Why? That was something similar that he
Bronx
did back
Tale,
then?
Bronx Tale, I knew I got the job. There was a message on the answer machine when I got back from the city. And I got the call driving home on the West Side Highway going back home. Now that I think about it, it's very similar, yeah. But and then working, you're working with Marty, you're working. My first, so I'm in the makeup chair for about 5.5 hours, right? 5, 6, depends which setup it was. It was like 23, 24, 25 different pieces.
Oh, my God.
And Mike Marino was just him and Pro FX and all those guys. They're incredible. And so that's who I hung out with. Nobody else was around. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. And my first work day on The Irishman. Now, mind you, I haven't talked to Marty, haven't talked to anybody since getting the part. No conversations, no, this is what I'm thinking, none of that. Was come to work this day, go to get the cast, and just all the prep stuff. And I come in 2:30, start getting all the makeup, everything.
What's your pain in the ass is the cast.
The cast, yeah, that was
Pain in
fine.
the
But
ass,
then,
yeah.
putting all this stuff on, it just took a lot of time. So now it's about 6:30, 7 o'clock, everybody starts coming to work, right? And then my first day of work was the big banquet scene. Everybody worked.
I
Everybody.
remember that.
Al worked. I think Cartel was even there. Every actor worked that day because it was the celebration day for Frank Sheeran, right? But this is where I'm supposed to be mad at Hoffa, and it's like the last fucking straw. And my scenes are with Joe at the table, and I fucking go and start seeing everybody. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what you doing? No, it's me. It's Dom. It's me. Like no one knows it's
No,
me,
really?
right? Like no one knows it's me. And my first scene is like this heated fucking scene with Joe and the camera fucking coming this way, and And I'm like, forget that's Joe Pesci. Forget, you are the strongest character in this movie. Nobody's more powerful than you in this movie. Nobody's more powerful than Tony, Fat Tony. And I had to I had to check
You
that
were telling
right away.
yourself that?
Absolutely.
Not Marty wasn't telling you.
No,
that. You were
nobody
telling
told me
yourself.
anything. Nobody told me anything. I don't even remember getting notes. I got to be honest with you. I don't remember getting a note.
I think Marty's so brilliant that I just think just from meeting you for those few, just saw right there that your instinct was right.
But I don't think that was bad. Like I was with Joe, and I fed off of Joe, and Joe was doing such a beautiful job because Joe was playing this character that's so down here.
Yeah.
And I didn't, as much as my character was probably mad at him, I wanted to portray it to Hoffa, who was on stage. And then the next time we worked together, and this is a funny story. This is what I was working up to. So now we're in the social club.
Yeah.
And so there was like 4 or 5 meetings with Joe, right? And each meeting kind of progressed into more anger because the message is not getting through to Hoffa. And so we're doing this scene, and I have all the dialogue. I got Joe here on my left, Bob on my right. Bob has nothing. I think he might say, yeah. I think yes is probably his only line, right? And then Joe has one, and I'm giving the whole pitch, the whole how it has to be, and this is what it is, and the whole spiel, right? And the camera swings, and it swings around, and it comes to me, talking, do an ad lib, just to feed the conversation until the camera reaches where it has to be, and then do the dialogue as it is on the page. So I had to come up with this Jersey shit. Like fucking people in Jersey, whatever. And I'm like, okay, do that. And then cut. Marty comes out and goes, so what do you think, Bob? Huh? What do you think? We do 3? We do 3 in a row? And I'm thinking to myself, I have all the fucking dialogue. What about me? Maybe, what about, I got to do 3 fucking takes in a row?
Right.
But I didn't mind it. I'll do 4 or 5. I actually preferred that anyway.
Yeah.
I prefer not cutting when I work.
I like that too, because it's
Me too.
going.
I don't like to cut.
Yeah, I hate that.
And, but these 2 guys, like Joe and I'm like, what a beautiful thing to watch when these 2 guys, 3 guys actually, including Marty, they kind of work like in this telepathic kind of way, and they just all came up together, working together. It's kind of like they know what each other is doing, what they're thinking.
Right.
And I'm like, are there people in the business today who are doing that? Maybe a few. Who, like, I would imagine, like Adam Sandler has that with all his friends that he puts in his movies, which I think is phenomenal, Yeah. But it was a beautiful thing to witness, man. I got to tell you. That's what I take from that movie.
Just what they, just that.
It was, I'm telling you, it was just every scene I did with Joe and Bob, and just how they work together. It's like it's almost like they didn't have to talk. They really didn't talk. Bob was reading his paper, and Joe's like waiting for his cook to bring him like rice or some shit. And, how fucking much longer,
Yeah.
And, it's beautiful. It was just lived up to, you don't want to meet your idols, but that was fine. That that worked out really well.
Yeah, they made some of the best films ever.
But I wasn't disappointed personally.
No, I would never meet your heroes because they disappoint.
Yeah.
But in a situation like that, and just to know that this one knows what this one's thinking, they've done it so many times, and it's just like, you know what I mean? It really is. I wish,
The only character aged up in the movie.
You.
pretty much. I mean, significant. I mean, they were aged down significantly, and my character was the only character really aged. I mean, you know, I'm talking about 20, 30.
Yeah.
20, 30 years
No,
older
that looked,
than
and it
me.
looked great too. Like that. Looked,
Mike Marino did a fantastic
that was
job.
unbelievable. And I
Yeah.
remember you
The
posted,
Jersey guy, by the way.
when you posted that.
Yeah.
When you posted that and you showed like in a fast way over the hours.
Yeah.
And just the whole transformation, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. You know, like that's why like when people, you know, like they, oh, you know, you're such a great actor, but it's like there's so much that goes into like filmmaking. Every single department is just as important as the next.
Takes a village.
Yeah.
It takes a village.
And did you?
I mean,
ever,
think about these guys setting up here today. This one's doing this. This one's doing that. One guy can't fucking do everything, you know? Takes a village.
Yeah, can you remember like first being on set and just seeing and experiencing how much actually goes into this? And then they're shooting this scene, and then when you see it, and it's like a fucking 20-second scene, and you're thinking, holy shit, we were there for like 14 hours shooting this scene in that one room, and it's crazy, and you just appreciate everything so much more to know that much work went into that little bit.
I'll tell you what I just realized, like it just hit me again. So, you know, you do these movies, you do these TV shows, there's a lot of money in these things, and then you go do, like I did Fresh Kills with Jennifer Exposito, right?
Right, you were great
We're
in that, by the
very
way.
small, man.
Yeah.
I mean, she was phenomenal. The girls are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Jennifer. I mean, but you go there and you're like, everything's so fucking condensed. But yet you could still do a movie that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need all the fucking bells and whistles, man.
You know,
she still made an incredible movie.
Yeah.
Because, and I learned this. I did a movie called Find Me Guilty, which
Yeah.
probably
I remember
one
I
of
saw it.
like one of the highlights of my career was working with Sidney Lumet.
Sidney Lumet, wow, one of the best.
One of the highlights,
This
top
was
3.
Vin Diesel played this guy, Jackie D'Onofrio.
One of his greatest roles too.
Yeah.
I think very underrated.
Yeah,
Vin was great.
How long did that trial? It was a Jersey faction of the Lucchese's. They were on trial for what, like 3 years?
They called the Boys of Summer, the book.
Yeah, I read that book. My Uncle
Yeah.
Angelo. That was the first time I ever heard.
Yeah.
Everybody else got let go, but Jackie had to stay. He was a stand-up guy. Jackie
Well,
D'Onofrio.
that's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a stand-up guy, but that was like, what that lasted like
Lasted a while, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how long, but it was a lot. It was a big trial because people were he represented himself.
Yeah.
And but I remember, and Lumet is a big fan of 1 or 2 takes as well. But the prep is very extensive. It's like almost like doing a play. Like a lot rehearsals, very intricate and detailed rehearsals. Stand here, on play here, the camera's gonna be here. He just knows everything. But I remember saying, you know, as far as I can tell right now, the Bible is correct, meaning the script, and that's what Jennifer had. Jennifer had a great script, and able to pull it off, even without all the bells and the whistles, because the Bible was right.
Right. When you have such a solid blueprint, it's like, well, you know what? Let me ask you this. I know you only worked on Bronx Tale one day, and you're saying all the bells and whistles. Sometimes I don't think all those bells and whistles are necessary.
Absolutely.
I think when I was first working, right, like, you know, we were kids from, like, you know, your Yonkers, the Bronx. We didn't have experience. We didn't know what this is. All right, now we got this, like, obligation, this responsibility, this actor that we looked up, you know, to for all our lives, is like handpicked us to be in his film. So I'm sure you were nervous, you know. So then you go work on this film with, you know, De Niro. Do you think that, like, you know, okay, say
You talking about The Irishman or the Bronx Tale?
the Bronx Tale. Okay, well, let's go back to this. You auditioned for Find Me Guilty, right?
Oh, that's a great this is a story in itself. So I'm filming The Wire at the time in Baltimore, and I have this audition. And Lillo, it's 15 pages.
Wow.
It's every interrogation scene. Not the character that I played. It was the cousin role. 15 pages. So they gave me the morning off, so I took the Excella, and I have all 15 pages down. And I go, I knock on the door, and Sidney Lumet, no receptionist, no assistant, no, he opens the door. He's like, hey, how you doing? And it's a first appointment. I think I was the first appointment. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. And we sat down, and he's like, okay, let's start reading. So I was about 10, 11 pages in, and he stops me. He goes, you can't, great job. I can't give you this part. And I kind of understood. I mean, I didn't look like a junkie. I wouldn't have time to prepare to like lose weight. Like it just didn't, And, but he goes, and he used like that old like vernacular, like, I'm going to put you to work. That's exactly what he said. I'm going to put you to work. And he gave me a part that's just as big. And the rest is history.
Yeah,
that was my audition.
Yeah, I remember I saw you on the stand. You were great in that.
Yeah, I got I got interviewed by everybody. Yeah.
So now back to Esposito. Didn't she what did she do? Refinance something with her house? Right?
She forget it. She had, I think she put up initially her money, then there were problems with some of the producers. Then she had to put more money in.
Yeah, I heard it was like $2 million.
And you know what bothers me about this whole thing?
$2 million budget.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
What really bothers me about it is, and this is where I think a little bit of the hypocrisy comes in. Nobody gave her a fucking platform to promote her movie. First time woman director, writer. She was the other actresses in the movie were given high praise, great Rotten Tomatoes, great reviews. None of these outlets gave her a platform. And I'm like, so like, what's going on? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I just found it to be very hypocritical, considering everything that was going on in the world.
Yeah.
You know? And
that was like a fresh take on, the whole mob
completely.
Genre. Yeah,
that's what drew me to it.
Right.
This is taking from a female point of view, nonetheless a child. I'm saying, and this is a first-time filmmaker who wrote this thing. It took her years to get this thing done.
And put her money where her mouth was. Yeah, and put up her own house.
I think if it was the son of somebody else or the daughter of somebody else in the business who did it, I bet you would have saw them on the Tonight Show.
They would have gave him a little more of a push. Yeah.
And you didn't. Now one outlet made her come on.
And what we were saying before with the bells and whistles? That's why I wanted to write down, because before I forget. She didn't have that. And, the performances from the daughters, they were great. And
phenomenal.
I think that sometimes you don't need... I think the bells and whistles intimidate young actors and actresses. When I first came on the set and I seen all that shit, I was afraid, dude. And I'm thinking, then I go work on these indie films, and you just have who needs to be there. Fucking sound guy can get 4 people in the room, right? You work on these big studios.
I get what you're saying. The only thing I'm scared of regarding anything we do in this business, I am not scared to work with anybody. I'm really not. I mean, I'm just not that way. I'm not really starstruck that way. I'm just not. And my biggest fear is me not being prepared. Like say, I'll look at that tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and I only look at it for an hour and a half, and then the next day I gotta go. I'm like, then I start panicking. Like, why didn't you fucking look at this?
Right.
Like, it hasn't happened. I can maybe count 2 or 3 times that maybe happened just because of certain circumstances. But that's what I'm afraid of. Not being, that's not saying flub a line, mess up a line. I'm talking about not knowing where you are, man. Like not knowing like where this wall is and where this wall is and where you need to be. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the thinking process where you're fucking off and doing other shit and not really giving the time to it. The thinking process part of it. That's the fear. Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Jennifer, and I look, I just think to me, that could have been that should be her taxi driver, man. You know, and I think they did her wrong. I just do. I just think they did her wrong.
Maybe they'll like re-release it or give it another push. I mean,
Yeah, she did the promotion. She you know,
no, I
everything
thought it was
for
very
it.
good. It was very good, and you,
Yeah.
it was very well
Yeah.
executed. It really captured that time period. We know that world, right?
Mm-hmm.
The '80s, the whole Guidette, the music. It captured that era. It was very effective. The writing, you were great in that. You were chilling. Like really, you were a scary guy.
I wanted to play. I remember talking to Jennifer because I remember reading it. She reached out to me for it, and I did Kiss Me Guido with
Yeah,
Jennifer.
she was in that. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she told me about the story. She kind of as I read, and I fell in love with the script. I said, "This is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Never really seen it this way."
Yeah.
And at that particular time, I was already doing an independent movie. I just love doing them.
Yeah.
You know, and I read it, and she told me about it, and it was more important for me to play the father, not the gangster. Let the gangster just come along for the ride.
Right.
But it was important for the father because the girls need to see that type of father, not that type of gangster.
Right.
And that was the balancing act for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was done very well.
Thank you,
Because,
buddy.
it was like, I'm not going to lie, it was fucking really good. It was like Tony Soprano, man. It was like, because when he's a gangster, but when he's a father, he's still a stern man's man. But you could see that fine line that he treads. And now I'm not a gangster, I'm a father. I'm
Right.
still that same guy, but you could see I'm being the father now. And you did that. You captured that. I'm not just saying I would
Thank
go
you.
say something totally different. But you would.
How was that? How was that working with? I mean, one of my I wish I had the opportunity to work with him.
Oh yeah, well, I worked with him on Crimson Tide.
Yes.
He was on that, so nobody knew this guy was going to be anything.
Yeah.
But I always knew because he always had that voice and the way he talks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, so he had that, and I knew he had something special even back then. Whatever the fuck. So. And then, like I read for the first season of Sopranos. I read for what's his name, the guy who was in Fresh Kills with you, Anthony DeSanto.
Okay.
He got the role.
Kiss Me Guido.
Yeah. And he was in Fresh Kills. He was in everything. with you,
Yeah. He's another great actor, man.
Anthony DeSanto's in fucking. He's in New Jack City. Remember when he goes and taunts him and Nino Brown cuts his fucking ponytail off?
Yeah.
That's Anthony DeSanto. Nino! When he comes in and gives him the thing.
Yeah.
But Anthony's good.
Yeah.
But then, I read for that. I didn't get the part. But I didn't really give a fuck because Sopranos didn't come out yet. I didn't know it was going to be that big.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like, whatever. You know what it is, man. We work, we go on audition, and we forget about it. We get the part, we
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
Well, that's what I want to ask you. Is there anything that you think about still that you auditioned for you didn't get, or anything movie, TV show wise? Anything that
It was that one role that you regret not getting to this day. Does it still haunt you? Like fuck. And every time you see it on, like damn, that could have been me. Is there that one role, or maybe two roles?
Just trying to think of one that
No. I mean, there were roles that bothered me, but then now that I think about it, I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I remember reading for Gotham, the TV show Gotham. I remember doing my audition. I had the black leather jacket, the tie, and then I would look at the character on TV, and like black jacket, white shirt, black tie, like kind of like my audition.
yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I'm like, that's what I was wearing in the audition. That was not in the script.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that was
my audition.
That was your,
He might have taken it
Yeah.
from you.
It's like, that's my fucking jacket.
Yeah. Domenick was really dressed, really appropriate for the character.
Nobody want to use him, but let's use what he wore there.
Yeah.
It's
funny.
A lot, yeah. Not being one of there was a chance I was going to be one of the entourage guys.
The main guys.
That didn't work out because I was doing The Wire at the time, so that didn't work out.
But they got you in there, though.
Yeah, I did 3. What did I do? 3 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stories with that. But
Yeah, working with Mark was a trip, bro, man. When we worked on Renaissance, man, he's a fun guy, bro.
Yeah.
We had a lot of laughs. He was competitive, too. He used to play football. He was a competitive guy. We used to wrestle.
Oh, yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what it's like, too?
He ain't a better athlete than me, I could tell you that. Maybe basketball, yeah. Everything else, no. He ain't throwing a football or
He's a lefty.
baseball.
He's a lefty.
Yeah.
I remember he was a lefty, Mark.
Yeah.
We used to call him just like Steve Young. I remember we used to play. I used to get nuts.
Yeah, it's like golf, though, but yeah, he's a lefty. He's
Yeah,
a lefty,
listen.
but he putts righty.
Yeah, it was so funny, too. Like, when we did Renaissance, man, right? We were on the set. He was like, he took me under his wing. He was 22. He's huge. I'm like just breaking into this business. And there was this guy, Curtis. You ever hear Tomcat's Catering? You know Tomcat?
Yeah.
Tomcat Catering?
Yeah, Tomcat, yeah.
Yeah, Tomcat. So there was this guy, Curtis. He was a little guy. He wanted to be an actor. So he used to say to me, Mark, he was like, he was like Southerner. He was like, any way you can get me a part in this movie? Well, we used to tell him, listen, we got to know that you can act. If you can't act, we can't put you in. So he's like, well, how we gonna know? I said, well, let's come up with a scene, and then we'll see if you could do it, and then we'll take it from there. And every scene we used to come up with, we beat him up in the scene. So this is what happens. You're gonna walk out of that door. You're gonna say something to him, and then I'm gonna punch you in the head. And then he's gonna punch you in the head, and then you're gonna be on the floor. I'm gonna stomp you.
Yeah.
So and every scene would end up like that. But we had good times, man. That guy. Yeah, well, all right. Let's try that again.
Great job.
Yeah, let's try that one more time, Curtis. Mark was a fucking funny guy, but okay. So everything, like, then you build a career for yourself. Everything was going beautiful, and as we spoke about before, De Niro's an idol of guys like us growing up in an prevalent Italian, American neighborhood. And Stallone's the same thing, right? Wouldn't you put Stallone on that same level?
Yes, I think Stallone's probably the biggest movie star in the world.
Yeah. Come on, Rocky, Rambo,
Yeah.
just those 2 franchises alone. Think
Yeah.
about and he created those 2.
Yeah.
What's it like working with him on Tulsa King? I mean,
You know,
that's,
the times that I did work with him, they were great. But our characters were like adversaries, so we always, wasn't like we were buddy. It's just because that's not, when we were working,
Right.
these characters went at each other's necks, And then to be honest with you, a lot of the work I did, via phone calls because he's in Tulsa and I'm in New York. So a lot of that was just done through phone calls,
wow.
And, but when I did work with him, it was great. He's an icon,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I was kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I one time left him a direct message. He never got back to me. You know who I was. But my nephew, you know what I mean? Because it was amazing because, like we loved him in the 80s and the 70s, because 76, the year we were born, Rocky
Yeah.
was Best Picture, man.
Right.
And just going, oh, yo, Rocky, like Eddie Murphy, the way he said it, remember what he said, like, you come out of a Rocky movie, an Italian
Yeah,
guy?
you want- yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah.
true. But he described the exact feeling I used to get out, all hopped up on soda.
The underdog, man.
Right.
It's
And
the
you know-
ultimate underdog story.
And Stallone,
you know?
man, that guy was like, there's like certain characters who have played certain roles that you can't see anybody else ever playing.
Ever.
That. Like Marlon Brando was the Godfather. I don't care. You can't. Nobody else can play that role. They had Anthony Quinn, but Anthony Quinn is awesome. He's a great actor. But Brando's presence in the way, look, nobody else could have did that. But Rocky is another one of those roles. You know what I mean? Sylvester Stallone, that, because that was a situation kind of like The Bronx Tale. people loved the screenplay that he wrote, but they didn't really want him to play Rocky, and that he held out, right? And then eventually did the movie, and it was like, you know, Best Picture.
Yeah, he wanted her to play the role.
Yeah.
He held out. Yeah.
People, you know, I don't know. I've seen, like, just the way Stallone comes across, he may come across. I've seen stuff, interviews with him in his earlier days. He's such a brilliant guy. I don't think a lot of people realize how smart Stallone is.
Right.
I've seen some interviews and the stuff that he says. And you know, there's another one, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, but that guy took bodybuilding, movies, politics, all to the top. There's got to be something. You know what I mean? These two guys, I believe, have those qualities, and you know, they're just amazing, amazing.
I think it's called dedication.
Yeah. Dedication, but like Schwarzenegger. Dedication, but Schwarzenegger said something. Do you remember in Pumping Iron?
Yeah.
Remember that documentary? Remember when he said, my mother called and said, your father died. You're
Right.
going to come home for the funeral. And he said, no. Remember, he says, I'm not coming. I'm training. Remember that? Well, you know what I mean?
Did you just do it
No, it's not
Okay,
good. That's why I quit while I was at, yeah, my mother called and said, your
That's
father.
all he did.
Yeah, your mother called.
funeral.
Yeah, at the funeral, right? So, but you know, like, you, me, just the way we grew up, right? It
Go get on a plane.
We gotta go home.
That's what I mean, dedication.
Yeah, but he didn't go
Exactly.
because he knew the bigger picture.
The dedication.
Yeah, but you would think the dedication is the other way.
No. Dedicate. What I'm saying is dedication to his craft.
Correct. But
to
some
to
people
his
could
dream.
interpret that as selfishness.
It is selfish.
Some people would interpret
It
that
is
stuff.
selfish.
Like,
But sometimes you have. I'm not saying, listen, I would have got on the plane. But sometimes you need to be selfish.
right. I would have got on the plane too.
Without a fucking doubt.
I would have just said, when I get back to where I gotta be, I just gotta work a little harder. But his reason behind that, he says, well, I'm not gonna come because my father would want me to stay and train and win. And then when he dedicated
I
it
think
to
that,
him.
you know, who knows? You know, I mean, I watched other interviews where he didn't have, you know, didn't have a certain type of relationship. But who the f knows? The point is, if something like that happened to me and I got a phone call, I'll be on the plane.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know?
So I know you had great parents, you
Yep.
know what I mean? And it was such a big part of your life. Just like, you know, my parents.
Exactly.
I lost my dad, and I know you lost, you know, both your parents.
Both, yeah.
And I want to say, I'm sorry.
Oh,
You know,
likewise. Thank you.
your
Thank you.
brothers and your family.
Thank you for that.
And, you know, how hard was that? I mean, right?
It was tough. It was, well, you know, anybody dying is tough, you know, but then him dying unexpected, and then my mom was diagnosed with ALS, and that's a tough one to deal with and watch. Yeah, kind of like one one piggyback the other one, you know. So
No, just the reason why I ask is because I know we're cut from very
Mm-hmm.
similar cloth, and we grew up the same way. And, you know, I've obviously been through some shit. You've been through some shit. And despite everything I've been through, I got to say, losing my father is probably the hardest thing. You know what I mean? And I've been through some shit, but when I lost my dad, man,
Yeah.
and that's why I asked. I know it's like, you know, it was
it's
so
a tough, yeah. It's just the family unit's just so tight, man. It's just you know when you lose somebody, it's just you know the wall starts. It's almost like your armor cracks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
part of
tough
that armor.
because the family unit was so strong. It wasn't you know you bicker, you fight, you argue, but man, the
when-
foundation was always there.
when you need them, they're there for you.
That's the other thing.
Okay, when my definition of a father, like what should a father be? A father should be a man and the only man in this world who wants to see you do better than him.
Correct.
That's the way it's supposed to be. But it's
That's-
not always like that. But you and
My
I
parents
had
was-
parents, I had dads
And
like
here's
that.
the thing: never once did my parents say, "Hey, you know what? You're not getting anything. You're not booking anything. You know, maybe you should go. You know, go be an accountant." You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why I said accountant. But
Yeah.
it's a great job, but
Well, you know, go be an electrician. Right?
Yeah.
That too, because that to them is more, right?
hey, it's nothing wrong with you.
No, are you
local
kidding
3.
me?
All right.
You'll be a plumber and electrician right now. Your pipes all right? Everything all right?
Sweat those pipes.
I'm the one who put the pipes in it. Who am I?
Copper. I only use copper because it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my biggest champions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Biggest supporters, everything.
biggest,
Yeah.
biggest, unconditional.
Yeah. And how your brothers? Your brothers okay?
Same way,
Yeah.
same thing. Even my friends.
Yeah.
My friends I grew up was like, don't worry about it. You don't get this week, get another one.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, all my friends always rallied for me. You know.
That's big, man.
Such a blessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Such a
then
blessing.
because sometimes you got people that are around you. You think they're friends. They're not rallying
They're
for
not
you.
rooting for you.
No,
You're
these
fucking
friends
jealous.
were. These
No, but you
these
got
friends
guys,
were.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
And
There's
even
those
my
undercover
friends,
fucking haters.
the ones I grew up with who are still friends, you know, I just don't talk to them as much. Just everybody kind of has their own life, you know, and then you meet people. But I got to tell you, the friends that I have, like friends that I have here and at home, incredible. My friends within the business are incredible. I don't watch anything I do
Ever?
ever.
So when people
I only
say,
see stuff in ADR. That's it. So I take it from them. And I know which ones to listen because I have a few out there who are brutally honest. Be like, yeah, you know, whatever. You know. So
I got those two.
yeah.
Brutally honest, Jonah.
Yeah. And that you know, that's the balance. That's the balance. But the people like, oh, you know, how is it? The things that I get from work, like I tell King, I'll just use my last job as an example. Well, one of my last jobs. And made great friends from Tulsa. People like, oh, you got killed on the show. Oh, that's a spoiler alert. But what up? Oh, yeah, okay, whatever.
Spoiler.
All right, he's gone. Nothing we could do. He's gone. What do you mean?
He's gone.
That's it. There's nothing we could do.
You know what that's from? That's De Niro
Yeah.
when he calls up Benny.
Yeah.
What that?
Somebody will get
we-
that.
yeah, we had a problem. What do you mean a
Somebody
problem?
will get that.
De Niro's so good in that. Scene,
Yeah,
huh?
so great.
Fucking great.
And
Even the look he gave Henry before. Remember
Yeah.
before the guy picked up
Yeah.
that little look?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's fucking. But nobody's face is like De Niro's. The shit. Oh, he does
Yeah.
so much with that guy.
yeah, he does so much,
Right?
saying nothing.
It's nothing.
Yeah. People were like, you know, you got killed off the show and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, made some really good friends from there who I probably will call tomorrow. You know what I'm
More
saying?
valuable.
Exactly. That's
than-
my point.
Right, and that's why you know.
I can think of every job I've done where I could pick up the phone, I'll call them.
Right.
Mark, one of them.
Yeah.
This project, one of them. You know, they're not colleagues; they're friends.
Right. It's different.
You know.
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of colleagues, and that's exactly what they are,
Right.
because this business could be funny that way.
Right. And talking about sports system, I know you have a special someone in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Are you engaged at this point?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Oh,
get married.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Yeah.
on that as well.
Yeah, Josefina. Yeah.
Okay. Excited about that.
Yeah, but who wants to talk about her?
Okay. Let's.
No,
leave
I'm
it.
only kidding. I'm only kidding. Only kidding.
But would you say that she's that positive, motivating, stabilizing?
Yeah, because
force
she's in. Yeah,
your life?
she's about. She has like a really strong drive about her. She's constantly trying to figure things out and do things for herself, and whether it be business or a family. A very devoted mother. So she it's like a juggling act,
Yeah.
you know. And but a lot of passion. She has a lot of passion for what she does.
That's great, Paul.
Yeah, she's a hustler for real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's important.
yeah,
You're only as good as the woman that you're with, right?
yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they say. So
That's the saying.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. All right. Before we go, is there anything you want to you want to plug anything you got coming out that you want to tell us about?
Did 2 episodes of High Potential. That's about it. With the people that I did a show called Rosewood, phenomenal people.
Rosewood,
Yeah, and the creators of that and the writers from that and a lot of people that were affiliated with that show do High Potential, and it was great seeing those guys and that's what's next. Yeah, I think that's what's coming out.
They came to find you for this.
Yeah.
They like
Like,
working with you the
we
first
need a
time
bad
out?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Tom? Oh,
Yeah,
there he is.
yeah,
Take
get the
Tom,
bad
come
guy.
on. But before.
But this was a treat because when you reached out to me, I didn't give you any static. I was like, oh, well, where,
Yeah,
right?
no, not at all.
And so this was a treat, seeing you again. We talked, and obviously things on Instagram. I follow you on Instagram. I like when I'm on it.
Yeah.
I like things, but this was a real treat seeing you again, and just want to say. And I'll say, I told you this. I told you this in the driveway, and I'll tell everybody out there, whoever listens to this. There's no telling what you can and still could do in this business. You follow me? Because your talents are like on another level.
Thank you, bro.
And they didn't go anywhere. They were there 20, 30 years ago, and they're there now. And you need to know that, and everybody else out there needs to know that.
Thank you, bro. I
So,
appreciate that.
yeah. And it was a pleasure being here.
And
Thank you for
also
letting
what
me
I
be
want
here.
You to say about, I give you so much credit. You know what I mean? You were like the wild card team. I was like the fucking, I clinched in like week 9.
Yeah, don't even bring up the wild.
But you know what I
Bills
mean?
fan, for
You
Christ's
had the
sakes.
smallest role, and this should be like a lesson to kids out there. The opportunity, no matter how big or small, it's the decisions that you make behind that. I had a great opportunity, and I squandered it. Your opportunity that you got from A Bronx Tale was much smaller than mine, but you were able to do so much more with it. And I tip my hat off to you.
Thank you, buddy.
I really do, brother.
I appreciate
And
that. Yeah.
Thank you for being on our
Thank you
show.
for having me.
All right.
I remember, brother. All right.
Laughs. It was very nice. My mother called and said your father died. I can't do him. So I quit. I said, let me stop this right now.
Father.
Yeah.
And then you went out of it.
Yeah.